Okay, we're back. I didn't want to bore you with a bunch of me not talking and sawing through the tree, but it's taken a little while, maybe 3 minutes. I wanted to finish sawing the top of this tree off on film, and the reason I wanted to do that is because when you get close to the end, you want to really pay attention to this branch, because you really don't want to cut in this branch if you can help it. I've already done a little bit because I tried to saw from this end and got the back edge of the saw rubbed up against a little bit. Not a problem. Trident maples heal really fast. But this is where you really want to be careful at the final cut, because a lot of people have a tendency, because they're getting close to the end and they're real excited, and man, my arms are aching, I want to get through this, and they go whoosh, and they keep trying to push and pull, and they end up cutting the top of the tree off. What you do is, at least what I do, is you hold the trunk at the top with your hand, put your forearm on it. You can see it's almost completely through. So what I do when I get about halfway through is I put my forearm against it and I pull backwards to release the pressure off of the blade. Okay? Makes the blade cut a lot easier through the tree. Now, like I said, once you get to the end here, you want to slow back down again and take your time. Rock it back and forth. If you've noticed, another thing that I've done, and we'll talk about that here in a second. I just want to get, matter of fact, it's off. Just need to clean up this portion of this cut that I made right here. That's all. And you see how easy I'm being? There. Now, just to take a look at this tree. This is heartwood, and that, I mean, for all intents and purposes, that's dead wood right there. That's the heartwood. You can see it comes clear out here on this side, and that's actually the side that's dying back, and you can see it right there. Now, does that mean that the rest of the tree's heartwood on this side is going to die all the way down? I don't know. Maybe there's something to that, maybe there's not. But that's a pretty big chunk of tree we cut off there. Now, just like on the Japanese maples, I'm going to go ahead and put wound paste on this straight away, because being spring and being that this thing wants to probably start dripping sap, I'm using that green Kiyonal paste, because once it dries, it's kind of like cement, rubber cement. It's hard. It's not hard to the point where it's not malleable. It's still malleable, but it does a lot better job of sealing trees in the spring and preventing a lot of sap loss more than the other stuff does. It's more of like a clay-based wound sealant. So let's go ahead and put this on. Another thing that, if you've noticed, I've already done is put some wire on the branches. It's also another good idea to do before you start your cuts. Reasoning behind that: when you start cutting this tree, you're going to probably end up cutting it from several different angles to get a trunk chop of this stature off the tree. So you'll want to wire those branches out of the way for the exact same reason as what happens with the apexes. I'm on the back side of this thing sawing, and I'm not paying attention to this branch over here, and end up cutting a good majority of that branch off. So I wired them out of the way. I'm going to end up having to wire them anyway, so why not wire them out of the way to give yourself more room to saw. Alright. That's that on the trunk chop for this year. Now, like I said before, I'm going to put the back side of the tree here towards the sun. I got some sights back here on the trunk that at some point in time had a little teeny branch or a little teeny bud on them. Right here. There were some branches at one point in time here, because there's still the ridges of them, which tells me there's a good possibility there's some dormant buds right there. If there's dormant buds right here and they pop, jackpot. That's exactly where I'd like to have them anyway. So, because there's only 3 branches on this tree, I need to leave them on here for the purposes of growth. Now, On this side there were 2 branches, if you remember. I ended up electing to keep the shorter of the 2 branches, and the reason I did is because it's going to be easier to bend. Not only that, but your secondary branch needs to be smaller than your primary branch, and if we're going to make this down here our primary branch, wasn't as big as the secondary branch was up here, obviously because of apical dominance. So, kept the smaller one of the 2. These here, now's the time to go ahead and wire these. When you're wiring these, you want to kind of try to sneak up on them. You want to support them from every angle. So when you do get your bends are, don't snap the tree or snap the branch. You want to make sure you put some decent movement in them now. I'd like to get this lower. Watch me break this on TV or on video, and that would be pretty embarrassing. Always wire the very tip. This wire is way too big for the tip of this tree, but it'll work. Always wire your tips up. Let's see what we got here. That's going to be about as good as we're going to get it. Try to get a little bit more, but not too much. I don't want to press my luck. Alright, let's do this other one here. Believe me, I've snapped thousands of branches on trees before I got to the point where I knew what enough was enough. And the only way you're going to know is with time. Hands-on experiences, the only way you're going to figure that out. And even to this day, matter of fact, while I'm sitting here talking and not concentrating on what I'm doing, I may end up snapping another one, so I need to shut up for a minute and get this done. Okay. Let's go ahead and zoom out and see what we got. These branches were a wee too large. I let it go just a little bit more than I probably should have before I made the bends on them, but that's okay. Actually, if you look at a tree in nature, you look at a natural, large, old tree, you'll notice that right here on these intersections, the branch actually comes up just a little bit before it goes out. And that's because it was a young shoot at one point in time, and it grew straight up. And over time, as the branch got bigger and older and bigger and older and bigger and older, and snow load and everything, it bent it down. But if you notice on trees in nature, which is what we're trying to recreate here in bonsai, the branch will go up just a little bit, and then you'll see that bend where it goes down. And that's kind of what we've recreated here in a way, and down here as well. You know, not a lot in nature do trees have a branch that grows straight down like this, unless it was just a weird branch, or just a quasi branch that decided to shoot out, growing downward for whatever reason. So, if you've noticed, the growing tip is up. The growing tip is up. Okay? That still tells this tree, you know, before the whole branch was up and up. This still tells the tree, we want these as possible apexes. They're still pointing upward. It's just now they've kind of gone like this. So we're still going to be able to get growth out of these, free growth out of these. I got a little bit more cleaning up to do here. I got a little nub right here on the branch that I removed last year that I need to continue to remove here. This, like I said, we're going to pound it with nitrogen, pound it with nitrogen, pound it with water this year. It's in full sun all day long, leaving this just to grow wild. I anticipate probably twice the growth on this apex this year as I've gotten last year. If we do decide to keep this as #1 branch and this here is #2 branch, it's going to be a sumo style tree. It's going to be a little short, fat tree. Once we get some back budding back here next year, we'll do our cut and our taper like we did on the smaller trident maple. I got a lot of dormant bud sites here in the back down low, which hopefully if this is towards the sun, the tree will tell itself we need some growth back here. Let's get some growth back here. So it'll back bud, only time will tell. Short and sweet on this one, there wasn't a whole lot to do, but I did want to make that secondary trunk chop now that I know where my apex is, so the energy in the tree won't be wasted on this upper part that we were anticipating on removing later anyway, because if you remember, it had these two branches. It had these two branches up here, and believe it or not, folks, I've seen people take this part of this trident maple, put it in a 5-gallon bucket of sand, and put rooting hormone underneath here, and this part of this little chunk that we chopped off would actually grow into another trident maple. Okay, I don't have the bench space or the resources to do things like that, but I've seen it done, believe it or not. This is just trash to me. My dogs will end up taking it and dragging it all over the yard, and I'll have to clean it up later. That's pretty much it for this tree for this year. A little bit more. And so let's do a quick 360 on this thing. I anticipate this one, no matter what I do, it's going to be a sumo style tree because it's a short, fat tree. Didn't necessarily anticipate the proportions being what they are on this tree, but this is what the tree gave me, so this is what I work with. So we'll get this bad boy back out on the bench. This one actually isn't pushing sap yet. This one's still in a dormant stage. Or state, I'm sorry, dormant state. It's not dripping sap like the Japanese maple. Every tree is different. If I look at the buds on these, they look the same as they have all winter long. They haven't really started to swell or started to push any growth. It's obvious that the tree's still alive because we've got the green, so the tree's not dead or anything, and plus I would be able to put these bends in the branches if the tree was dead. So that's it for now. I'm going to put her back out and let her take off. Thanks for watching.